What options is left for state governments, say Akwa Ibom State, for instance?
To go to court. If their accounts have been frozen.
By the EFCC?
They go to court and challenge the power of the EFCC. Listen, let's put things in perspective. EFCC is an agency set up to deal with certain specified crimes, right? Crimes. And then to go after the proceeds of crime. Not to say, oh, we believe. And so if an account or a particular amount does not fit within that precept, what's the basis of freezing? How does a state account? It's not the governor's account, remember? It's not any official's account. It is the public treasury of the state.
Why do you believe that?
Why
do you believe that proceeds of crime cannot be channeled into a state government's account?
No, look, if proceeds of crime can be channeled into a state government's account, the requirement is tracing. You can't do a blanket closure. You'll shut the country down. If you believe that, and in any event, it doesn't make sense, right? What you are saying is that stolen money can be laundered into the state account and then out of.
Is it impossible?
No, but it's unlikely.
But is it impossible?
No, when you say possibility, it's unlikely. We're saying it's unlikely. This is not an account run casually. This is an account run under financial regulations, operated by the Accountant General and the Minister of Finance. Now, first of all, also, it will be, I think, a foolish thief who would launder his money through a government treasury, because it will be lost. Because that treasury, and people must understand something. There are very few full treasuries, full, because your outgoings.
What if they argue that, well...
Who argue? No, let's say, I say, let's not have an academic debate. I say that the provisions of the law do not, in my view, allow the EFCC blanket power to shut down a public treasury. That's what we're taught. Forget all this account.
I get the point. But we've also seen how governors are on trial for criminal cases.
Indeed.
And in many instances, that is as a result of pilfering from the state account.
Yes, and putting it somewhere where it has been discovered, where it has changed character from public funds to what? Private
In
funds.
that kind of situation, can't the EFCC freeze the government's accounts?
No, why?
For the purpose of stopping the governor from touching.
No, that is, you can't disrupt government to achieve this goal. I said, look, let's be honest. The best crime fighting is prevention. Do you accept? I was DPP. The less cases I got made me happier if the police were able to suppress. Now, if you believe that a particular governor, and I think, I must say, I think sometimes we run too much on mythology. The idea that everybody is in stark position to steal. No, because if you look at it, most of the money goes for salaries. Most of the money in the treasuries. Most of it goes on services. You run hospitals, etc. I'm not going to comment on the efficiency or efficacy of those services, but most money does. And any disruption of that process has severe consequences. Now, if, as you say, there is suspicion, and it must be a reasonable suspicion, that a particular governor, let's say a governor has been voted out of office and has 4 months left, right, before his opponent takes over. There's always this excitement about, he's likely to remove all the money. Then you watch him. You have the power to pay attention, to watch the flow of funds. That's what is done. You can't say, for the 4 months that he's going to be in office, to prevent him from stealing, we're going to what's the word? Freeze the account. And I would advise any bank that freezes an account on the orders of the EFCC, not a court. to be very cautious, because if I were the holder, I would sue the bank for that act and for damages. Now, let's look at the law on state accounts. They're being frozen. There's a law where a party gets judgment against a state government or the federal government, because we keep saying state. If we say state, we should also say federal. If in your view the EFCC, on the ground that it suspects somebody is going to steal the money, can block the EFCC, can block a state account, then the same agency can say, because I believe some ministers are going to steal some money, it can shut the federal government. That's not the intention of the lawmakers. But let me tell you the importance of keeping government business running and the seriousness which the law takes towards it. If you get a civil claim against a government, right, of billions of dollars, there is something called a garnishee order. As you know, you must go to the court and convince the court that I've got this judgment, the state doesn't want to pay, garnishee their accounts, and from there take out my money. Now, because lawmakers know that stopping the business of government is near anarchy, it still says that before the garnishee order can be implemented, you must get the Attorney General's consent. So, I mean, you can see that it's virtually impossible that the Attorney General of the same government you want to garnishee will. But that's how seriously the law looks at that. So you can't read into the EFCC a power that is not expressed. And you can't say that on suspicion that something is going to happen, I can just blanket shut down government. That's anarchy. I don't believe. Now, there are provisions in the EFCC post-conviction that are specific to how to deal with money in bank accounts. It means you go to the court and the court orders, first of all, you must have an accounting. You can't just close accounts. You must say, what's in it? Let's look at the flows and outflows and inflows. There must be details before you suddenly buy yourself. That means that nobody is safe. No investor, nobody. It means they can just shut down, you know, everywhere. Once we purport to concede to a government agency such awesome power, even the federal government, in all its majesty, cannot order the closing down of a particular account. It can, through its regulators, the CBN, right, close a bank, but there are specific conditions. That means the bank is unable to meet its obligations, etc. But for you to say that then the EFCC is moving out of its criminal vest and into, you know, all manner of, you know, I could just do what I like. I could just say stop.
So clearly, no government agency can walk into any bank and say close this certain account because we suspect this or that.
I say unequivocally no, because that is a recipe for anarchy.